You're listening to WOLF, Wolf Radio, broadcast in Carrollton at the University of West Georgia.
Welcome to Wolves of the Written Word.
More college students should read.
Reading is cool.
Have you ever read a book before?
Of course I have. This show used to be a podcast.
Dystopian is my favorite genre.
That's depressing.
Wow, I can't believe that's banned.
Wolves of the Written Word.
Wolves of the Written Word.
Wolves of the Written Word. Wolves of the Written Word. Wolves of the Written Word.
Wolves of the Written Word.
Wolves of the Written Word.
Enjoyed the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wolves of the Written Word. I'm your host, Sean Smith.
Ooh, I'm your co-host, Janelle Michelle.
I'm your co-host, Adyia Stubblefield.
And today I am very, very excited to take the next step in radio production because we are no longer a podcast, but we are now an official live show live on the air.
Yay!
Yay! We're so happy, y'all.
Super excited.
Very, very excited. I have done this podcast, I think, for the past, about 2 years, up to 3 seasons. I joined in with some new of my favorite co-hosts, Adyia and Janelle, of course, to get some new input on reading and experiencing new kinds of stories. And I'm very excited to kind of be live on the air. And also, we're also streaming on YouTube to talk about books, reading, and basically any kind of story in general. So basically, I know that since it is kind of the first kind of live part of the show, I would like to start off by mostly talking about what we are actually going to read in our personal future, mostly just TBR piles or TBR list. For those of you who don't know, a TBR is to be read or at least later, in which you create a list of books that you're going to read later, of course, in the future, which is, of course, very important. So opening the floor to everyone here, basically, until we kind of focus more on the details of our TBRs, what is a book that you kind of actually liked to read that wasn't really on your list or you didn't put on your list? Because for those of you guys who, of course, are just tuning in, I had, of course, my co-hosts, and including me, create our own lists off onto the side before we actually went live.
Yes. I think our more organized host should go first.
So a book that was on my TBR that I'm excited to read, probably Carnival. I've heard a lot about it, and I think I've been putting it off for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I hear about that book, the more interested I am in reading it. Originally, I was going to read it in February because Valentine's Day, but I'm behind on my reading, so that's going to be an April book.
I get that. Wait, why Valentine's Day? How's that correlate?
I don't know. Wait, is it dark romance or is it just fantasy?
It's kind of just fantasy. I guess you could say the second book in the series is just for all the listeners out there who are a little confused about what we're talking about. I recommended Adyia this book. It's like a whole series, and I think it's really good. I've read the first book. I'm waiting to get the second and third book, so it's more like fantasy? Maybe a touch of the YA, but it's kind of like a fantasy mystery love series thing going on.
Okay. What is the book about? I think I've heard of it before. I think you guys mentioned it off air a couple of times.
Yeah, it's called Carnival. I don't know, y'all. It's a very nice book, though. But it's basically kind of like in this world where people are separated, kind of on islands living their lives, and there's this magical circus that pops up every couple years or so, and the only way to find the circus or go to the circus is you have to get this special invitation from this guy, and everybody wants to go, and it's these two sisters who have been hearing about it their whole lives, and they heard about it from their grandma, but they don't want to go. And then one of the sisters is supposed to be getting married, so she's just like, okay, I'm giving up my dreams to going. And then one day her younger sister, which is the second sister, she disappears, and she leaves her a note being like, I've left, I've gone to Carnival. And so the older sister basically has to leave before she gets married to go find her younger sister with this other guy, and then they go to Carnival and they go through all the mysteries and the wonders and all the challenges in that world, because it's like a carnival game show type thing, something. It's very interesting. I recommend it to
Wow,
everybody.
okay. I think I'll add that to my list, of course.
Yay.
Well, for me, I have actually updated my TBR I just signed up for Goodreads, kind of updated that. Of course, I also recommend it to not only my co-hosts, but to our fellow listeners out there who are trying to get more organized in their reading. But I would say that I guess the one book, I guess there isn't really a book that I would say I have added to my TBR that I think was my favorite. But I think most recently I did really enjoy and finally finish the Rise of Kyoshi novel.
Oh, I love that
basically.
book.
It was really cool. I'm a big Avatar The Last Airbender fan. I am a huge fantasy-based fan. Most books involving like a kind of unique IP is really, really hard to kind of write because it's mostly either just basic or they try to do something a bit different. But I finally finished the book, and I got the sequel book, I think, even after that. But I think it's definitely one of my favorites. It's very mature. It kind of continues the lore a bit more, but it doesn't actually, it's not too confusing either. Like if you watch the show, you would probably need to understand this, but it's fine if you didn't watch the show to read this. Though.
Yeah, I think it's a nice standalone piece if you just wanted to learn about Kyoshi or were interested in Avatar. Because I'm pretty sure Avatar has like 5 comics, but none of them are standalones. Like you have to watch
The show
series.
to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I like Rise of Kyoshi so much.
But I also kind of love that the like Avatar is just like watch the show, read the comics, get more of us. Like there's just so much in the Avatar universe. Like what's not to love about Avatar? So yeah, I think it's nice. For me, my TBR is a little bit of a mess, if I'm gonna be honest, y'all, because my TBR is like a mix of books that I've written down and then screenshots and pictures of books that I've taken. But I think the one that I haven't read, but I'm looking forward to it very much, is Naturals, which is like the first book in the Natural series, which is like these teenagers who are part of like a secret FBI team of solving mysteries and all this crazy stuff. So I think I'm really excited to listen to that or read that one.
Of course. So I know TBRs are meant to kind of organize our reading, make sure that if we want to set aside some time for reading, we go through this list and then we put aside some time to begin reading off of this list. But I know that making lists sometimes is a bit taxing because it feels like that you have an end goal to complete. And sometimes, even for me, when I do create a list, I have to often realize that, man, I can't just go through all of this in order. It'd be boring, basically. It'd be more like a chore rather than just something organizational. So for mostly just switching the open topic just to bring up to the table, how would you prefer to actually read your TBR list? Would you rather read it in order from the top or all the way from the bottom? Or would you rather, I would say, maybe number it and then get a random wheel and then just spin it, and then whatever number you land on, you just, I guess, read it?
Controversial opinion? None of the above.
Yeah, I don't really do that. I think I just like read what I want when I want, and then like it just happens to fall in line that it's on my TBR. Like in January, I just read graphic novels for some reason, and now I'm reading like an actual hefty book. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I think my TBR is, I treat it more as a suggestion more than anything. It's kind of just like, these are books that I'm interested in. These are books I've heard interesting things about them. So like if I'm ever like, I want to read something, but I have no idea what I want to read, I'll check out my TBR. But most of the things that I read in order, they've never been in my TBR. It's just like I saw them, I wanted to listen to them, or I wanted to read them for whatever reason.
I will say though, like sometimes in my TBR, I have books that go with the season. Like for Black History Month, I like to read Black authors, and then I like to add a cute little romance for Valentine's Day. And so I guess that's like the only organization I have, but it's usually just like 1 or 2 books.
Of course. And reading is very important. But you know what also is very important? Looking good in your appearance. When you look good, you feel good. When it fits good, you feel good. Now you can rep your favorite college station with our brand new merch store powered by Ozero Apparel. Visit thewolfuwg.com and click about. That's wolfuwg.com. And we'll be talking more about our TBRs right after the break.
I started reading a book about a maze. I got lost in it. You're listening to Wolves of the Written Word.
Yo, what's up with these bodacious tunes? Wait, gag me with a spoon. Why am I talking like this?
No idea, but let's put that unique voice to use and sign you up for Wolf Radio's WIT program. Our righteous staff have the know-how to make you a radio expert.
Radical. So how do I sign up?
Just go to thewolfuwg.com and click the WIT program link under our About drop-down menu. Piece of cake. But we got a motor. Sticking to the clock is the most important rule of radio. Cowabunga!
keep calm and listen on. You're listening to Wolves of the Written Word.
Welcome back, everyone, of course, to Wolves of the Written Word, the premiere of our very first live broadcast. In our previous segment, of course, we were talking mostly about favorite reads beyond the TBR pile, of course, to be read a bit later. But today we're actually going to be focusing more on our mood in regards to our list, mostly just focusing on what we actually like and what we can connect with to this list. This shouldn't just be like a chore list to get through most of our bookshelves, so that way these books can no longer catch dust, but more so making sure that we can be able to, I would say, do things a bit more differently. So just to kind of open the floor to everyone, of course, what would you say that is what books, I guess let's just say top 3, would you say would be at the top of your list on your current TBR pile?
How about you go first, Sean?
Yeah,
of
you
course.
Can go first.
Yeah, me. We'll go first, of course. So I have like a variation a bit of a lot of things, but I really, really, really want to try and finish reading A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. It's a connection of stories in regards to a rock band, and it jumps from the present, the past, and the future. I've actually gotten this book from my English class, and I actually received the actual physical copy for free because we have to actually read this book for class because I'm in advanced creative writing, so we have to read this for inspiration. For my next pick, I really, really, I think one of the ones that I feel like that I do definitely want to try to finish, I would say, is They Both Die in the End by Adam Silvera.
Oh, I love that book.
I think I started reading it around last semester, but I haven't really finished it. But I think it's definitely in one of the many, many books that I really wanted to try and finish. And I do have a diverse kind of pick on my list here, but I would probably also say that I do also really want to finish, I think, Cinder by Marissa Mayer, of course. That book, of course, will be a bit of a sort of small surprise for you guys that we will, of course, talk about later, of course, in this season. But I am very, very, really liking it so far, and I definitely want to try and get more time to actually focus on reading it.
Yes, I love that. You know what I'm hearing, though? I'm hearing that everybody should just listen to Janelle because Janelle is amazing at recommending books. That's what I'm hearing. But, yeah, for me, my TBR is kind of interesting because I think my top 3 books are partially fully series, and they're also partially things that I've started reading already. So it's like the very top book on my list is to finish Carval because I want to finish rereading the first book and then I want to finish the whole entire series. So I count that as like one book in my thing. And then I also want to read Six of Crows.
Oh, that's a really good book series.
It's a really good book series.
Yeah.
And I watched the show and I was just like, I want to read the books.
Is that like the Shadowhunter series, I think? Or is it something
Smoke and
different?
Bone?
Smoke and
Smoke
Bone.
and Bone.
It's a Smoke and Bone series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like Smoke and Bone is like a duology, I think.
Yeah.
And then Six of Crows is Six of Crows.
Six of Crows,
Six of Crows is like, is it 3 books or is it more?
I think it's 3. I've read 3.
You've read 3? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 3. Don't quote me. Like, I'm pretty sure it's 3. Because I can picture. I loved the book cover of that one.
Yeah, it's just so nice. And and I really wish that, I know that's not our topic, but I wish the show didn't get canceled because knowing what I know about the books before even reading them, that would have been very interesting to see on screen. Yeah, and I think the last thing on my list is the Hunger Games, all the books. I've started Hunger Games, but I want to finish everything because, you know, this is a big Hunger Games year.
Yeah.
So I just want to get it all done. So, yeah.
Wow.
I want to, this is my first one's a reread. I want to reread Lore Olympus, but as the actual book version, her graphic book, because I read it when it first was in Webtoons. And when I found out that she turned it into a published thing, I was like, yeah, I definitely need to read this. Next is Strangers or Friends. I don't remember that one, but Friends or Strangers That We Made in the Dark. I read this author's first book a year ago, and it was so good, but it low-key was traumatic that I had to like read upbeat books, because she writes like darker YA novels, and it focuses a lot on mental health. But it's so good. Like the way she writes, like you feel like these characters are your family members. So definitely want to read that. And then finally, the Let Them theory. This has been on like my shelf for a good year. I think I got it when it first came out, and I just haven't sat down and read it yet. And every time I look at reviews on this book, it's like, this book will change your life. It's so transformative. You have to read it. So like, I really do want to read the Let Them theory this year.
People love writing like
Self-help,
reviews.
yeah.
They love writing reviews on books and being like, this is the best book I've ever read. And then you'll see another review and it's just like, actually, this book caused more harm than it helped me.
I mean, it's interesting because like books do have a kind of greater influence on people personally. I mean, it's different from like a movie where like, you know, it can like be a product of its time. A book can also be a product of its time, but it can also change and kind of adapt as well. So you can kind of see what most people can see, but it is good that people are saying that this is the best book ever. But it's also good that people are saying that it's also the worst book ever, meaning that they actually took time to actually read it, and figure out what flaws there actually have problems.
I can do that. Like if I don't like a book and
you're not going to finish it?
Yeah, I will not finish it.
That
like it'll just...
real. No, okay, this is like a major sidetrack for us, but I just hate when I'm reading a book and I'm enjoying it so much and I love it, and then I get to the end and I'm just like, oh,
that's what happened.
No, I'm just like, oh, are we sure that's what we want to do? Because I know we had a conversation off air like a couple weeks ago about, there was this book that I was reading. I think it's called Ace of Spades. That was on my TBR last year. We were reading that book. I was reading it. I listened to it. Adyia told me about it. I was telling Sean about it. Book was so interesting, and then I finished it, and I was just like,
underwhelming ending.
It's a very underwhelming ending, and I don't know.
Well, it seems like that you guys do have a lot to talk about in regards to how your TBR piles are. So I feel like that we should definitely switch over to our special segment where we can talk about anything that we would, of course, want.
Bookshelf rants, the time where we rant about, I don't know, cue music.
That's right. It's Bookshelf Rants, where we can talk about anything in regards to, well, all of our personal topics and gripes and opinions in regards to reading, what we dislike and what we like. So kind of just to sort of narrow our conversation a bit here, we have slightly kind of touched upon this just a little bit, but Janelle has mentioned before that she treats her TBR pile more as a suggestion rather than sort of a rule. But she also did mention that she took a picture of the same book 5 times in the past, I think, 5 years? 2 years?
2 years. 2 years.
So I would probably say that for me and my rant is that having a list, of course, is important to allow yourself to remember things, of course. Now, that does not mean that you aren't able to remember things. It just means that when you actually narrow down your options and make sure that everything's good, you can still be able to remember certain things.
Okay, I feel personally attacked. That was a personal attack. Okay, Adyia, say something.
See, I disagree with that. Only because of the way I go shopping for books. I save up money to go to Barnes & Noble's at least once every 2 to 3 months. Barnes & Noble's always has a sale. I come in mentally thinking I'm going to buy X book from my TBR list, and I leave Barnes & Noble's with 5 other books that I've never heard of. And so, yeah, a list is good. However, I feel like sometimes it's going to be sporadic. And it's like, this book is just calling to me. I need to read it.
And
now.
This is my point. This is why I have taken a picture of the same book like 5 times. Because personally, I am a Barnes & Noble girly. I love going to Barnes & Noble's. Barnes & Noble's is one of my comfort places. But the nearest Barnes & Noble's to us that I would actually go to is like near Cumberland. Sometimes I don't got the money to get all the books that I want to get. So I'm taking pictures of the books that I want to get so I can remember. And when I'm thinking to myself in the future, like, oh, let me buy a book. Let me check out a library book. This is the book that I'm going to get. And sometimes my TBR is just pictures of books, which is why I have been taking the same picture of the same book like 5 times. And it's on my official TBR now. So I feel like, I don't know, like, it's not a crime against humanity.
TBR is like what I want to, for me, my TBR is like the books I mentally set to read this year to reach my book goal. However, like I will go out and buy more books because that's just who I am.
Yeah, I do went through those same things, of course. I do also treat my TBR as a suggestion rather than a supposed rule. But it is helpful for me to at least see what I could read because I have written it down on a separate list before. I have gone to Barnes and Noble, bought a $30 book that's hardcover, basically. It's very expensive. These are like fresh books from fresh trees. But I do, of course, read by mood. If I'm in a more sci-fi mood, I read more sci-fi books. If I want to read something based on history, I'm also in that mood as well. And it's kind of hard to get out of that mood, to be honest. I mean, it's really hard. And then when you try to switch over, it's just like you're interrupting yourself, basically. But reading is still important in that way of reading. But I think now I want to open the topic, of course, to something a bit interesting. As you know, I have done a couple of research into aesthetics when we were preparing for this live show. Of course, for the station, we were, of course, also starting to rebrand, making sure that we get that cozy kind of book feeling, of course. We threw a couple of suggestions, Reading Rainbow, of course. I only seen Reading Rainbow once, but still.
In your life?
Well, yeah, basically.
How?
Well, I mean, my mom used to watch it when she was a kid, but she suggested it a couple times. It's actually really nice because the actor was in Star Trek, so that's why I liked it. But somehow, the aesthetic thing about books still kind of gets crazy, though. Sometimes reading becomes performative. So have any of us really bought a book just to display it like a piece of art in their living room or their bedroom rather than just read the contents inside? I know I haven't.
Okay, wait. Because no, but yes, but no. Because I have said this before back when we were a podcast. I have a book buying addiction. I will buy books because I love buying books. I love finding books that I'm interested in and know that I want to read. And then I'm just like, okay, I want to get this one and this one and that one and that one. And then I just buy a whole bunch of books and then I don't end up reading all of them. And sometimes they end up as a decoration, but that's not the point. That's not why I bought it in the first place. I bought it so I could read it. It became a decoration because of circumstance. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Wow. What about you,
I'm trying to
Adyia?
think. I'm not sure. I also have a book buying addiction, but I feel like all the books I buy, I read at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think I went out to like a bookstore and saying I'm going to buy this book because it's pretty.
Yeah, like
I just happened to see the cover and I like it. I buy it.
Yeah, it's not like. That's why I said wait, because okay, it's not performative, but then it can seem performative if you're not, because like sometimes I'll buy books and I'm like, I know I'm not going to read this right now because I'm reading something else or I'm focusing on something else. But I didn't buy it to be like, ooh, I'm going to put it right here on my bookshelf so that people think I read a lot of books and did it. Like, no, I bought it because I was going to read it eventually. But
because me personally, I don't even have a real bookshelf. Like,
I don't
all of my
either.
books are like, they're just piled up
yeah,
somewhere. It's just like, yeah.
I have like a little tower that I took from my parents' bathroom and then deep cleaned, and my books just stack on top of that.
Wow. I think I bought 2 bookshelves only for when I moved into my dorm. I bought one from Amazon, but it was flimsy, so I threw it away. And I bought a more stable one from Target, which definitely helped out. But it's good to have a little tiny bookshelf.
Yeah,
to-
something nice and cute.
Good. Because what do y'all do with your books that you buy and don't read, or already read? Your finished books.
I keep them in a separate pile on my bathroom bookshelf. It's like the way that it's set up is like it's 3 tiers. So it's like the top tier, mid tier, bottom tier, and they're not that big, but they're just kind of like flat. So it kind of reminds you of a bookshelf, but it's not fully a bookshelf. So I treat it as like top tier is where we're going like books that you are actively reading. Mid tier is books that I'm trying to like wrap up or I have read, and then bottom tier is books I keep forgetting to read. So it kind of just like goes in the level of where I'm going. Because like I don't want to get rid of a book that I bought because I've already read it.
Because there's a bookstore in Atlanta that you could trade the book that you read for a new book.
Oh, what is that called?
I don't know. I need to actually like.
I need to know that location.
The name
Same.
of it.
I think I have some books.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if I never actually finish actually reading a book, I would, of course, rather donate it. I'm fine with selling it, but never throw it away.
No, never throw it away.
Never, of course. But the one thing that you can't throw away is responsibility. College students who binge drank alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project because of drinking. Dream City Brewing Company, Wolf Sports Network, and Wolf Radio proudly remind you to drink responsibly campaign. Students 21 and over should drink responsibly in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculty won't take hangovers as excuses. But we will be talking more about our TBR piles and, of course, our personal reading opinions right after the break.
You're listening to Wolves of the Written Word, where the stories are more than just what's on the pages.
School's out for the summer, and I bet you thought we forgot about our book drive, didn't you? Well, joke's on you. We're still doing it, and we'll keep doing it forever.
And the best part of this plan is, no one can stop me.
That's right. We're gonna keep collecting books for our pre-K kids, so you better keep donating your new and gently used books at our drop-off locations. For more information, visit thewolfuwg.com/book drive.
Just do it!
show is not over yet. We'll be back with more Wolves of the Written Word here on Wolf Radio.
And we are back with more Wolves of the Written Word, of course. We, of course, have been talking about our personal opinions in regards to reading in our TBR piles. And unfortunately, it is, of course, our last and final segment. I am very saddened, but, of course, we'll, of course, be back, of course, next Monday at the same time at noon. But for, of course, our main topic, of course, I kind of noticed that TBRs have been getting a bit popular kind of lately. Maybe it's because of some resurgence of, I guess, reading and, I guess, knowledge and kind of experience and kind of detracting from technology. What would you say, of course, opening to the table to everyone, what would you say is kind of the reason why TBR lists have become so popular online?
Definitely book talk.
Definitely book talk.
Book talk. I feel like most of the books that I've been reading / have read are from book talk. And I feel like it's just because like you want a place to relate to and find people at. And book talk, yeah, it's just that girl.
Yeah.
Plus Goodreads.
Yeah, definitely. Book talk and Goodreads, because low-key, once you find book talk for the first time and then you stay in book talk, everybody's always talking about like their TBR, and then they're giving you recommendations for their TBRs, and then you're just like, oh, I want a TBR.
And especially for like book talk, since we were talking about it, I
Yeah.
feel like there's like the big dogs of book talk. Like these are books that you have to read.
Yeah, because
Everyone
has
reads
read
them,
them.
and that's why people build TBR
Yes.
piles, because they want to feel included.
Like a big dog of book talk is the Twisted
the
series.
Twisted series. I love the Twisted series.
I refuse to read the Twisted
Why?
series because it's okay. It's like, yes, I trust book talk. I love book talk. We're gonna read what book talk recommends, but at the same time, y'all, please.
Okay, I'll admit the Twisted series is a little crazy. However, it is a really good series. Like if you take out, I mean, it's twisted for a reason. Like that's
Okay,
what I'm
but
gonna
my
say.
point. It's twisted.
It's twisted for a
It is
reason.
Twisted for a reason. Maybe you
Remind
should
the
not
viewers
go
and, of course, me what Twisted is.
So Twisted is a amazing series by Anne Huang. It follows 4 friends in a friend group and their love quest for their 4 love interest. So the first Twisted series is Fork's Proximity / Best Friend's Brother. The second, and Grumpy X Sunshine. The second love trope is My Bodyguard / Princess. The third one is friends, not enemies to lovers, and then the fourth one is fake dating. So it's a bunch of like dating tropes that you see in books, but it's the extreme and it's a little like dark.
And that's why I'm like, I don't want to read,
because like there is stalking.
Yeah, like it's like they get weird.
The boys
and
get weird.
Yeah, and I have no problem with like books that get weird, but it's just like the way that people like glorify the way that they get weird in these books. I'm just like, I can't.
My thing is, for glorifying weird things in books, I think of like what's her name? Colleen Hoover.
Ooh,
Her books glorify it, but Anne Huang, I feel like in her books, when you read it, she acknowledges this is bad. You shouldn't do this. However, like
this is what's happening.
This is what's happening.
Also, sidetrack, y'all. Don't know if you could tell, but does anybody want to guess what's Adyia's favorite genre?
Yeah. if you can't tell.
If you can't tell, I think it's possibly horror. It might be horror. That's just me, though. I don't know. What do you think, Sean? What do you think her favorite genre is?
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I just like really cannot figure it out.
It might be
at
fantasy,
all.
or maybe
maybe it's dystopian.
Maybe it's dystopian.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. I don't know. Maybe you'll catch me one day. Maybe they'll catch me. Maybe they won't. We'll see. We'll see what Twisted has in store.
Of course. I think I'll probably check that out, but it is a bit harder to be drawn into a book series where, I'm sorry, was one of the tropes you said Fork's Proximity?
Yeah.
Forced?
Yeah.
It's like they're forced
to
be,
live together.
They're forced to live together, or they're forced to work together, or just like they're forced
to be around each other 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much like aggressively? Or
Not
like,
aggressively. So in the first book, the girl's brother goes off on a trip, so he asks his best friend to watch over her. So he lives in the house next door. So they're forced to see each other every day.
Yeah, it's like they're forced to be here. It's like they don't want to.
They
be
don't
near
want to
each
be
other,
here, but we
they're
have
forced
to be together.
We work together. We go to school together. We live together. We're forced to be near each
we're
other.
forced because of the plot and the
Yeah.
author.
Yeah.
The author wants us to be together.
Yes, we're forced because of the world we live in.
That actually would be an interesting book where like there are 2 characters and they're like in this like tropey kind of cliche romance, but then they discover that they're actually in a romance.
And then it's like they're trying to fight against being in the romance.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 2 writers here. Somebody should write it.
Yeah, that would sound very cool. But I do notice, just to turn back to our conversation, that book talk definitely increased popularity a bit for reading, which is, I think, kind of a very strong added benefit of, I guess, book talk or TikTok itself. I'm not really on TikTok, though, so I don't really know how it would be.
I also think Wattpad and Webtoons
Yeah.
kind of,
Yes,
because I
yes.
feel like there's so many different authors that like got their platform on Wattpad, and now they're like making
Like actual full-fledged
books. Because there was one book series, I can't think of the name right now, but it was like a Hermione fan fiction, and now she has like a whole book series that she changed the Hermione fan fiction names, and she's making so much money from that.
Because I'm telling you, the Wattpad writers, they was back there, they was really putting in that work at like 15, 16 years old, and now they're out here, they making money from it. And same with like Webtoons. They was really, and I also feel like possibly thinking in that like mindset, possibly the reason that like book talk, TBRs, and actual physical like book reading is really popular now is because Wattpad and Webtoon have kind of changed their formatting, where it's like you basically have to pay money to get any of the good stuff these days. So it's like people are just like, okay, the authors who is making the things that I enjoyed, they're making full-fledged book series I can just buy or listen now. I'm gonna get off Wattpad and Webtoon. I'm gonna just read what they're actually writing.
Not to mention, I feel like everything now is getting turned into a TV show.
Yeah.
Like Bridgerton, what is the Webtoons one? The British, I know this show. Heartstopper.
Yes,
like
Heartstopper.
you watch it, then you're gonna want to go back to read it, and I
Yeah.
think that's really what made the reinsurgence of reading.
Or even like the Wattpad to be movie like pipeline right now, or Prime Video movie pipeline. It's like they'll take these stories that started out as Wattpad and they were really popular in Wattpad, and then they just make it to a full-fledged movie that people
wasn't
just watch.
The Summer I Turned Pretty, wasn't that on Wattpad? I'm pretty sure it
don't
was.
know,
I'm
actually.
50% sure.
It feels like it was on Wattpad.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Sean does not like The Summer I Turned Pretty at all.
I mean, it's not just like that series in particular, because speaking as a Wattpad ex-writer somehow, of course, when I was younger, I wrote a lot of fan fiction, of course.
Lore drop real quick.
Yeah, very strong lore drop, but mostly based on like TV shows, cartoons usually. So the resurgence of the romance stuff, I think, didn't happen until like the mid 2010s to maybe like the 2020s, and by that time I already left Wattpad because they switched up the ad stuff, where like when you were reading, the ad pops up and then you have to pay for it, which is kind of dumb because usually fan fiction is usually nonprofit and most stuff, but it is very happy. I feel happy that writers, of course, can easily get successful on platforms, of course, but I also would say that you also fall into this little box where like you basically just take, I don't know, a werewolf man and pair him together with a small town girl.
See,
Twilight.
I'm the opposite. I think they're not in a box, because I think I read a fan fiction about Raven from Teen Titans and Peter Parker from Marvel, and like who would even think to write about that? And I feel like because of like a Wattpad, you're able to like have a multiverse crossover that you never would have thought of.
Yeah, it's like the people, they are mixing everything together, but then sometimes because they're mixing everything together, it's like you get in a box, but then somebody does something and it breaks out of the box. So it's like a mix of both, basically. And I feel like low-key, if you think about it, the start of your TBR was probably what was your list of Wattpad stories, Webtoon stories that you was reading when you were younger. I think that's how TBR started out. I think it was the list of things that you were just like, oh, I'm going to read this next on Webtoon. The watch list, the save for later on your Webtoon, your Wattpad. That's where your TBR really started, because you were like, I'm going to read this next, and then I'm going to read that one. And then next thing you know,
it's filled up.
And then now we're reading books.
Wow. Well, I do have an active fan fiction account. And I do have a lot of TBRs that are basically fan fiction, open tabs, and just basically reading. I am also through a Harry Potter fan fiction that I am reading right now.
Really? How is it?
It's good. It's like some alternate universe where like Harry gets sorted into Slytherin and all that stuff.
Oh, I love those.
It'd be like very interesting. But I feel like that there is sort of like a little divide, because there's Wattpad where like you get the fandom related stuff based on a show or a movie, and then there's like the actual original stuff that you actually have to like break into the genre for.
Yeah.
And because people are really drawn into unrealistic kind of surprising romance, it's easier to kind of like explode into that, basically.
I think it is easier because, like, again, you could write the fan fiction characters, but it's so easy to just like change a name and turn it into like an actual book that's yours.
It's like you change the name from Harry and Hermione to George and Georgina. It's like, it's really fast to change it. So.
Of course. But the one thing that you, of course, should change is how you drink responsibly. In a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month. That is why Dream City Brewing Company, Wolf Sports Network, and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign is here to remind you that there is no drinking under the age of 21. Never drink and drive, even if it's one alcoholic drink, and add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex, which means know your limits. Speaking of course, this is, of course, the sad time of the day where we, of course, begin to wrap up the show because it is now almost time for us to go and say goodbye.
Sigh.
Of course. But we have, of course, talked about a lot, of course. TBR lists and piles, even if not, cannot really be defined entirely. They can be treated as suggestion and helping you remember and how you read. But they can also, I guess, sort of give you an idea of what you would like to read. But sometimes you can also read by your mood, of course. You know, I mean, not everyone can follow it like a chore, of course. But any closing thoughts that you guys have in regards to TBR lists?
Your TBR does not have to be dead set, and that's not all that you have to read.
Make sure to diversify your reading, because if you're stuck in a box, you won't know what other genres you like.
That's a good point.
Yes. Of course, you can always read what, of course, you would like, but there is nothing wrong with expanding your horizons for reading. I know for a fact that half of my stuff is mostly not just science fiction and fantasy, but also memoirs, history, nonfiction, general fiction, YA, religious nonfiction, usually just something more diverse. But it helps to kind of spread those wings. But unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. And I am very excited to begin this new journey of Wolves of the Written Word as a live show with, of course, my two co-hosts, of course. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye guys.
I'm so happy to finally be out of class. Today's so boring.